Bo, are you feeling groovy right now?
I am. I'm actually going to Google a song that this reminds me of. It sounds like Take on Me by Aha.
Ah. Huh.
It has that vibe.
Well, what is up, theology nerds? This is Trip, and I'm here with the Bo Daddy, and it is time to nerd out with your geek out on the Theology Nerd Throwdown. Yes. And boy, are all you on live ready for a treat? Perhaps a treat or a train wreck, because this day, Bo and I received from a regular listener some ideas. And I guess, having Josh come on last week to ask us questions opened a floodgate of, well, have you considered?
Yeah.
And Bo, could you guess what wacky morning duo format we remind certain people of?
Is it Shock Jocks on the classic rock station?
No, not classic rock Shock Jocks. No, the Wacky Morning Sports Talk Radio Show.
Oh, well, in fairness, the last couple of episodes, you have introduced early your grievances with the Lakers. So there is a sporty thing happening.
Well, okay. But we have a number of repurposed segments regularly used on Sports Talk Radio for the Theology Nerd Throwdown format, and and this may include participation of all you in the chat. Bo, the first segment for this day.
Okay.
Because we have to tell these now so they can put their over-under bets in.
Okay.
For this episode.
I love it.
And then I'm going to find out. All I know is Bo said, boy, have I got some things to talk to you about.
Man, do I have
I've
some
got
topics.
Games.
All right. You have games, and I have some serious theological concerns.
Okay. So over under, and this is how you're to do this in the chat. You get there's 4 options. If it's over, an O. If it's under, a U. And you put them in the chat together. Okay, the first one, over under 26.5 minutes before Bo and Trip round the corner into the actual topic. So over under 26 and a half minutes.
26 minutes, all
to
right.
get to the topic of the day. Second, over under 4.5 conspiracy nodes discussed on this podcast. This would include things like demons and stuff, Nephilim, Peter Thiel, UFO, anything that's conspiracy and conspiracy adjacent.
Okay.
Over under 45 minutes before Tolkien or Bonhoeffer's mentioned.
It has to be over. That has to be over.
That's what you say, but you don't know.
No, today it might be under, because when we get to the topic of violence, it might come up earlier.
Okay. And then last one, over under 3-minute rant from Trip when discussing the new J.D. Vance book. I don't even know if this is on our agenda, but if there is,
who knows?
Okay, so but see, y'all are putting them in the chat, but we got to do all 4 at once, right? So if you're gonna do all 4 and then put it as one chat. This might be too complicated for the internet, but
it might be.
We're following the listener. So, do I think it will be over or under 26.5 minutes before we get to the actual content, then you answer. Then 4.5 conspiracy nodes. Then you put oh, look, Lori has it right. Lori has it right. Look at that format. Over under 45 minutes before Tolkien or Bonhoeffer. Oh, come on. An over or under 3-minute rant if J.D. Vance's book comes up.
Okay. So I just want to acknowledge how awesome our chat is. So Anne is in the Pacific Northwest. Lori is down in Jupiter, Florida. Somebody said Charlene is coming in from Waterloo, Ontario in Canada. And there was a chat from Beijing, China. So, and they're up late with us over there. So I just want to acknowledge how awesome our chat is. And, oh, yeah, people are doing good with the formatting. Good. All right.
Yeah. So there they are. They're in the chat, by the way, the over-under, so you can go back and find it.
It's pretty funny.
Oh, all right, Bo.
Mm-hmm.
So later today,
yeah,
Elgin and Alicia go to France, and he's going, for his study abroad.
Bonjour.
So
bon voyage.
Which Cora and Haven are like, well, that means we can, we're going to be hanging out for a bit, just 3 of us. And Cora was like, I could help you with your live streams. Haven's so like, do you do any where you play video games? And I was like, no, I really haven't gotten to do that. He's like, those are the best YouTubes, the video games. So hopefully no one sends us an email requesting that we play video games during Theology Nerd Throwdown, because otherwise they might have to watch us play tic-tac-toe or crosswords or something like that.
I'm about to sound old, but I used to like video games all the way from Space Invaders when I would go to Pizza Hut for a personal pan pizza as a reward for reading a book back in like fifth grade, all the way up to Tomb Raider on PlayStation, which I absolutely loved. And I was a youth pastor back when this happened. But when the Xbox came out, I tried playing Halo, and I could not get the controller that has the buttons on the front, and I kept getting killed in Halo, and I was so frustrated. I literally haven't played video games since Halo came out. So no Madden, no nothing. I gave it all up. I just realized it passed me by, baby.
That's I was fine till with PlayStation 2.
Yeah.
And then once Elgin got into video games and we got new ones, whatever eye-hand relationship used to exist before a PhD is gone, and everything's so sensitive. So when I play even games I dominated on back in the day, my character's like swinging so far past everything, I'm just getting shot, and they all jump and spin and do things, and I'm like, what is going on? I need steady, I'm more like a stormtrooper.
Okay.
I need things nice and structured.
Yeah.
I don't want some 14-year-old in Nebraska talking junk at me on a microphone.
Oh no,
being like, you let your daddy play? He's a noob. And then Elgin's like, you're ruining my stats.
All right.
This was back in middle school.
2 questions. Have you tried the dance games on Wii?
We play Dance Dance Revolution, but
it's hard, right? It's so difficult.
I don't play when as being scored. I just dance and make them all feel jealous of how many moves their father has.
When we were in LA, we had an all-nighter for the youth group, and somebody brought the Dance Dance Revolution. And I was so discouraged because, as mentioned on a previous episode, Trip, I can really dance. I mean, there's a lot of thrusting and gyrating and rhythmic, pulsating, muscular, girthy. I love dancing.
There's some moves that small people don't even have available to them, because a small person, they don't even have enough BMI to get the wax and wane of the wiggle, right? Like, but large guys, like there's like a whole, you know how like if you're a girl and you're like a 3 or above, there's just certain things you can do that every guy's like, oh, well, straight ones, and and there's like, if you or can just own your size as a big-bodied male, there are certain dance moves you can do that just have like big swag, or I'm told that's outdated, big aura energy, all because you're just owning it, you know?
I have several variations of the rump roaster that
yeah, you do.
Yeah. Like the one
I had that, I didn't have that on an over under.
Like the tail feathers is slightly different than the moneymaker. You know, like there's some variation to the shaking.
Dude, what was that song when we were both youth ministers in LA? The Shuffle or whatever.
Yeah.
What you know? With the dude with the big afro, and they had like the dance. And
there were a lot of
no, it's a specific song that you like regularly brought it up and would start to do the dance.
I don't know.
And they were in commercials.
Okay. It's not ringing a bell.
This is like a 2012 dance hall anthem.
Okay. We'll Google it afterwards.
It's really going to irritate me now. I can't remember.
One more video game question. Did you ever do the rock band, the garage band with the Guitar Hero?
It drove me nuts. I think it's for people that don't know how to play an instrument.
No, but that's how I feel about the Dance Revolution. Is I watched the kids who scored the highest on it, but they couldn't actually dance. They were just really coordinated with where you put your feet at a certain time, but it didn't look anything like dancing. So no, it wasn't for me.
Oh, but you know what is for you?
What?
Get ready, Bo. Next segment is called Bo the Pope. You have to decide almost instantaneously.
Okay.
Canonize heresy or apocrypha.
Okay.
Canonize heresy or apocrypha. And you can guess how this works because you're currently operating as Pope. Maybe the theology nerd Pope, or like, you know, homebrewed Christianity, we call like regular listeners deacons.
Yeah.
And back in the day, just be like, if you donate, you can be an elder or a bishop. Like Baptists don't really have a hierarchy. And so
you would even make up new positions depending on
for the right price, or like if you like Charlie brewed beer and brought it to camp, then he's the godfather. Anyway, but so wait, now here we go. What about the Pope Daddy?
Oh yeah.
Then only in this segment do you occupy the ontological status of Pope Daddy, and you can say heresy, apocrypha, or canonize.
All right.
I'm
ready.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. The DOG. Okay, the rainbow in Genesis 9 is a clobber verse against pride, inspired by the Major League Baseball people putting it on their hat.
I'm going to put this in apocrypha category because I've always been suspicious of two things. One, how can any group claim the spectrum of light being refracted as their sort of special thing? But I've also been confused why every church nursery I've ever been in, visiting any church building, has the ark and the rainbow in it, because it is a violent story of deicide, of what is it called? Not when God dies, but when God kills a bunch of people. It's like a genocide, but there's another name for it. Theocide? Is that what's called?
You're the Pope. Why do you can call it whatever you want.
So I've always been suspicious about this signifier being both for people who are biblical literalists and then putting it in there. I mean, they really think that you know, many people died, and so but they put it in their kids' nursery. But I've also been a little leery of how a different group could repurpose that signifier on their flag as an identity. I just think Spectrum Light belongs to everyone. So
You're very complicated, Pope. Also, Evan has remembered the song. It was Party Rock Anthem. And
I did love that song.
I'm glad it was bothering someone else, because I was like, will everyone notice if I start Googling this? Because then I remembered it was also in a Chipmunks movie.
Oh,
how does the song even go? But I remember it's Party Rock, but the little, when the breakdown for the dance, how's that go, Bo?
Oh man, I am not great at coming up with song lyrics when the music's not playing. I need to hear it. Oh, you're gonna get in trouble with YouTube.
I know. Let's skip. We only can that song.
Oh, you bet you were playing the Chipmunks version.
Yeah,
that's hilarious.
Your mind. Every day I'm shuffling. That was the line. Then Bo would just start doing the dance, and it made me laugh every time. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
That brings back
every day I'm shuffling. And I was like, oh yeah, okay. All right, Bo.
Yes.
I need to know canonize heresy or apocrypha. Naming your master surveillance company after the Palantir is a confession or a coincidence.
I'm going to canonize this one. It is saying the quiet part out loud. It's hiding in plain sight. It's so brazen that it has to be intentional. So I'm canonizing that one.
All right. In J.D. Vance's new book, he peaks with this most epic as a new Catholic line, quote, "Therapy didn't work for me, but church does. Quality theology, Pope Bo?"
This one is heresy. It's I mean, listen, I'm a big fan of church. I love the sacred gathering. I love the work that we do together in liturgical spaces, the spiritual practices, character development, personal piety, social holiness. I'm a big fan of it all. It's not the same as therapy. Like, the work that's done at therapy is uniquely, I would say, humanistic and also individualistic, and therefore the antithesis in some ways of what we're doing in church. So that's heresy.
Okay, Pope Bo. But UFO sightings are the work of demons?
In the same way that Satan hid dinosaur bones, allegedly, at different layers of soil and clay to deceive, this one, needs to be explored. So
yeah,
I'm putting it in purgatory for the minute.
You're putting it in purgatory. The greatest. Did you hear that? Like, there was like a Catholic priest that explained how UFOs were demons, and he got like put in timeout.
No.
Yeah.
This is recent?
Yeah, I didn't know about it. It was in the email explaining where all these jokes came from.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my goodness. And I responded and was like, if any of these work, like, could I just pay you to do this every week for games? And you just pick the game of the week or something.
It's impressive. Hey, can I just tell you a weird story? So I'm not a big UFO guy, although when in the congressional hearing they talked about biologics, it did catch my attention and sort of generated in me a new openness and curiosity. Like, that was interesting. But here's the thing. I was out one night because I get up so early in the morning, and this is during the winter months when it is dark, till well past breakfast time. And I saw a string of orbs. I've never seen anything like it. I've seen it twice since then, but a string of orbs come through the night sky. And I looked it up, and it turns out it's a series of satellites from like Skynet or something. And but I had never seen anything like it. And the reason it caught my attention is that I have a relative who is fascinated with UFOs and orbs. And whenever they're at the ocean, they over the sky over the ocean, they see orbs and things and report back to us about it. So I've always been a little bit dismissive of it, but once I saw that string, I was like, oh, this is what they're seeing. Okay, interesting. So I'm newly open to the idea, and I know they're satellites, I know, but I get why when people see them, they can go down that road.
Well,
and if I can just also say, in our Christian imagination, we love the idea of visitation, like just the idea of something from a different realm, from a different place, from a different time. We love the idea of visitation. I mean, this is why Superman captured people's imaginations in the post-World War II era. Like, we just love the idea that there's something out there beyond us that comes. And I mean, honestly, in Tolkien, it's shocking how many times the plot is moved along by a visitation from help that comes from beyond, unexpected. Just saying, it's often in Tolkien's storytelling, the solution to a problem that's faced is a visitation from a different realm or a surprise visitor.
yeah.
So I think it's in our Christian imagination thoroughly.
Yeah. Well, Bo.
Yeah.
All right, we can talk about something real now if you want.
Okay.
But don't worry, there's more games.
Okay.
There's more games that we're sitting in.
Hey, I have 3 things I want to run by you.
Okay.
Because I was traveling last week, and whenever I travel, I have different thoughts because I'm out of my pattern and I'm encountering new people and different situations, and it gets my brain working in a different way. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a quick story. I want to see if it resonates with your experience at all.
Okay.
So when I lived in upstate New York starting in 1997 through 2008, I didn't recognize it at the time, but then when I moved to Olympia, Washington to go to seminary in Portland, 2008, 9, 10, and then I went down to Claremont, and then I got a job at Westwood on the west side of LA. I recognized something when I arrived in West LA that I had never noticed before, which is for the last 20 years, I was the most liberal or most open-minded or most accepting person in any room I was in. I didn't realize that's what was going on, but I often felt out of sync with whatever. If I was at a denominational meeting, if I was in my seminary classroom, I often felt out of sync with the majority of the sentiment that was being expressed in the room. And I realized up until I got to Claremont and then Westwood, Trip, I was always the most left-leaning or open-minded or progressive person in the room. It was only when I finally got, let's call it, to the beaches of Santa Monica that I realized you can't go any further left. You can't go any further out.
There's an ocean.
Yeah, no. And metaphorically, I also reached my ideological left coast.
Bo got peak woke early. He didn't have to wait to 2020.
And then
we're going to go back and check your tweets from then.
Yep.
See if we can get you in trouble.
So then from 2017, 2018, I started to move a little bit to the right because I was blessed to be in environments where the identitarian left woke mindset was so pervasive that I felt internally myself that I started to move back towards the middle, I'm going to call it, of being sort of a communitarian, not a libertarian, but I started to understand the sentiment. I'm not by nature a conservative person, especially theologically and socially. But when you are in wildly liberal, identitarian, woke spaces, I felt myself pulling back a little bit like, oh, this is why people think we've gone too far, or like the left is crazy, or the things that they say, right? The woke mind virus or liberal whatever, right? Libtards and all of the pejoratives that get thrown out. So I'm just curious, Trip, in your journeys through Palos Verdes and then Scotland, and now you're in North Carolina, have you experienced ever a rubber band effect where you were moving in one direction, but you got far enough out that you said, oh, at a certain point, this doesn't hold together or satisfy something, and you started to retract a little bit? Have you had that experience?
I'll just say that my personality is jovially contrarian, and so
all right,
but like Trip's instincts on most issues are much more progressive. I would say, like, even during, where identity politics was primary, Trip was always an advocate that class comes first. Do you remember at Solarize at the 500th live episode?
Yeah, sure.
Homebrewed Christianity. Well, there was the public eruption during the show bit,
sure.
which that drove me up a wall. Might have gotten me a little. Anyway, we aren't doing that part. But then after that next day, right? They're screening. What was Steve Taylor's movie?
Oh, I forget.
With Blue Like Jazz. Blue Like Jazz. Now, Blue Like Jazz movie, Steve Taylor's doing that thing. We didn't actually make it into the screening because, well, podcast listeners brought us delicious beverages from.
Yep. We were on the couch. Outside.
Various places that they traveled from.
Yeah.
And then I got put on some show video doing hot takes. And they said, like, we had been talking for a while, right?
Yes.
And we're having fun. They showed up with me and you and a number of our friends that we all are in person now. We're having ourselves a good time.
And just for the record, you had been imbibing.
That was what I was saying. We had people brought beverages.
I just
like, they didn't bring water. It's like, look at the mineral content in this water from Arkansas. It's delicious. It was like, let's drink beers from 5 states together. Why would we want to go watch a movie?
Right.
The extroverts go, a movie?
Yeah.
While there's hundreds of people to hang out with.
I can watch that movie anytime. I can't talk with all these people ever again. This is like a once in a lifetime gathering.
Yeah. Okay. So we're having a nice conversation. We just talked about like Paul and atheist philosophers using Paul for politics and stuff. And then whoever read the video was just like, what's your hottest take that makes progressives uncomfortable or something? And I was like, identity politics isn't the gospel. And then I ranted.
Yeah.
Now,
was it more over or under 3 minutes?
Oh, it was over 3 minutes.
It was over. Okay.
Oh, it was over 3 minutes. And granted, this is the critique I was performing is like a much more progressive critique that I identity politics is a way to generate a new market to be included in kind of late capitalist neoliberal identitarianism. And the market wants everyone included. So there's more labor to exploit and more markets to market to. And if we think being included in a problematic economic system that's inherently unjust is a victory, then we'll pat ourselves on the back by putting a pride flag up at our church, but never like ask leaders in different industries to think about justice towards workers or the environment.
Yeah.
This would be the completely sober explanation of it.
Yeah.
And so that the gospel is not asking nothing from your upper middle class and above congregation except putting a pride flag to make sure no one that disagrees with them even wants to come in. That was the point. Well, let's just say I don't think it got communicated. It got put on the internet selectively, and there was like 3 weeks of emails where it was like, you're betraying, why did you do all of this work in these areas? Like in the emerging church movement before, it was like, of the straight white guys, me and Tony for years were the only ones that were public on like, you should be open and affirming. And then then Brian McLaren changes his mind publicly, then everyone else is allowed to. He's like Barack Obama, right? We all know what he thinks, but then he evolved publicly one day.
No.
And then everyone else was just like, I evolved today too. And I'm like, you evolved today, or you just didn't want to get the heat on your blog. Anyway, so that there, why would you say this? Blah, blah, blah. I was like, what are you talking about? And then I'm like, this is like progressive, like this is a socialist political theory. I was like, is anyone surprised? I remember the first time in like when I started the Emergent Village cohort, I was a minority opinion for being inclusive, a universalist, a critique of capital, these kind of things that then later,
interesting.
Everyone goes along. And I'm like, you don't understand. You and your neoliberal pride flag congregation, that's not even really that progressive. You got to get all three structural evils king names out. Come on, give it to me. Don't do this junk. Anyway, I remember that, Bo. And then after that, I got irritated with Unitarians because I'm like, you're just, this is so annoying. And it has nothing to do with like I think God embraces, cares, and invites every person in each of their unique situation, context, and givenness to respond to the lure of God towards beauty, truth, and goodness. And I don't think anything about who you are changes. That the God who knows your name, knows your face, and cares about you meets you in this next moment, exactly where you are. And that God invites you to something other than who you are right now. That's just called the gospel. And it's about you. It's about your community. It's about the way we relate in most of our relations now that we are alienated from are economic and ecological ones. And if we don't have a gospel that makes expectations on us in those registers that impact future generations significantly and keep in bondage structures of oppression, then a pride flag is giving you moral valor for doing nothing. Like other than, going over with your, like feeling cool with your other friends that all like love pride cups at Starbucks. I
remember this, and if I can just say for the record, and I'm not trying to be a contrarian, I want to, in fairness, say where I think the controversy fired up. I don't think anyone minded so much you using big fancy vocabulary words, quoting philosophers, or Dr. King's triplets of evil. I think what the rub is you used a fictitious example. If you had a non-binary kid in your youth group who was in a wheelchair and they added a new stripe to the pride flag, and so they had to go to Target to buy a $4 t-shirt that was made by kids in slave sweatshops in Southeast Asia, and then the environmental impact of shipping that across the ocean so that they could get a discounted more specific. I think you used a park. You were talking about a parking sign that.
Okay, yeah, I can imagine I said this under certain conditions, Bo.
Yeah, so I think that specific example was when you threw fuel on the fire. If I remember right,
I'm not saying I remember it, which is part of the problem. I've matured. That was like 12 years ago.
I do.
The thing I remember most, Bo, is that somewhere between when I went to bed that night and woke up, I received a text message from Alicia, who had heard from one of us, you, saying you might want to just remind Shrimp.
Oh no!
The ABV level matters when recording, and she's like, Trip, do you understand what you would have had to have said for Bo to let me know? And I was like, you don't have to say anything else.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah. So after that, there were completely different rules when microphones were involved, and I think I only broke it once, and that was when I was wearing a giant Wookiee suit and didn't realize how dehydrated I would get on IPAs in a giant Wookiee suit.
This is at camp.
But I didn't say anything dumb. I just was
feeling the effects, as they say.
Yeah.
That is so funny, man.
But broadly, I would say on the I do think I'm like a jovial contrarian.
Okay.
And so like in a setting like Los Angeles or European capital in an academic environment, I will be pressed more on like economic class things because people pat themselves on the back so much for being inclusive in a situation where it costs you little. Now back in the South and having like trans family members and seeing the kind of venom that just comes out in congregations, then jovial contrarian Trip presses those issues in conversations with people, so they have to feel as awkward as family members that hear people make jokes about people without knowing they have them, right? Like to me, I think that's Trip's personality. So my rubber banding is more how could Trip use his jovial friendship nature to press something he cares about in a hopefully not that threatening way. I like to walk up to the line where then they're like, but I do like Trip, so I guess I can be a little more open to this, or at least shut my mouth if he's around.
So I think, for people who are familiar with the Enneagram, and because I'm a United Methodist, we speak it as a second language, just, all the time. But
yeah, I've actually heard mainline Protestants are more likely to have read the New York Times and know their wing than to know 3 of the minor prophets.
That's awesome. So as I'm an Enneagram 7, which means I'm a cheerleader, I'm just my natural disposition, wing 8, which means if something goes wrong, then I become a real problem. So just because that's my sort of personality, I think I have had a different experience. Total side note, one of my favorite jokes when I'm speaking to a group that I don't know very well is to just mention to them that the most commonly reported injury amongst United Methodists and other mainline congregations is tennis elbow from repeatedly patting ourselves on the back.
Oh my.
People don't like it when I say that, but I think it's pretty funny.
I think that was funny, Bo.
Thanks.
I support the fun and the funny. And now I think it's time for another game.
All right.
This one is for you and our chat group. All right. So hold on. Where is it? All right. Oops. That's actually not it. Then we'll do a different game. Because I sent you a version without all the stuff in it. All right. Bo, what's your sermon series that's coming up?
Yeah.
What can you tell everyone about your sermon series before I introduce this fun? game. Because that someone listens to the podcast and then sent games appropriate to your sermon series. It's great.
My summer sermon series is going to be, it's a two-parter. One is Bible verses that get misused. And second is going to be songs that we can't sing here in this congregation with integrity. So it's going to be a fun sermon series. And people have been sending me, I really do appreciate the crowdsourcing of, I love crowdsourcing sermons, but yeah, so it's Bible verses that get misused and songs we can't sing with integrity.
So now that we're leaning into our wacky morning sports talk radio, it just happens to be talking about theology. We're going to do a Mount Rushmore.
Oh no!
Yes, this is a real debate. Like,
I love it
in sports radio. Like, think at least once a month, every Los Angeles sports radio show. If it's a slow month, you're like, what's the Mount Rushmore of Lakers?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you even do that?
Right, because there's at least 6 good Lakers in history.
Oh my God, I can't even. You can't derail me.
So you have Wilt, Kareem, Magic, Kobe, Shaq. Yeah, that's it. And now LeBron.
You only get 4.
That's 6. That's
you
6.
only get 4. Also, you left off the dude that is the logo of the NBA, who happened to be a Laker.
Pistol Pete Maravich?
He's not the logo. Oh my! I can't do
Jerry
this.
West.
You're triggering me. Will Chamberlain's best years weren't with the Lakers, but you have to have Kareem. Mm-hmm. There's no one alive that's not going to put Kobe on it. Like, you can't not have Magic. He's probably
overrated.
The cinch. Oh my God! Never mind. We're doing a Mount Rushmore.
Keep in mind, I grew up in Chicago in the 80s, so I'm a Jordan guy.
Yeah, and y'all have one face on your Mount Rushmore. There's like, anyway, like, never mind. Right. We aren't really going to lapse into sports talk radio.
Okay.
Mount Rushmore of Bo. So you only get 4.
Okay.
Most misused Bible verses. Mount Rushmore of misused Bible verses.
Oh my Lanta.
You've already been thinking about this. You've already been thinking about it.
Okay.
Look at he's
I'm getting
prepared.
A sticky note. All right,
you're getting a sticky note out. All right,
I'm ready to go. So so the first has to be that psalm that God gives you the desires of your heart. I'm going to go number 1. And I think I'm going to start my sermon series with this, because read properly, the Hebrew should say something like, God will give unto your heart its desires, or that which it should desire, meaning that God births in us desires, right, that line up with God's heart for us. Say, so God gives unto our heart its desires. But in consumer capitalism, it gets quoted that God will give you what your heart desires. So I got to say that's going on the Rushmore. Number 2 is everything happens for a reason, which is not in the Bible. It's a misquote, I think, from a Romans passage that says, for in all things God works together for the good of those who love God and are called according to God's purposes, something like that. And read properly, apparently, the Greek should say something like, for in all things God is working for the good. So it's not that the good works for us or that everything happens for a reason. So those 2 are the first ones that come to mind. What would you add? What would be a third that you would add?
Philippians 4:13.
I can do all things.
Yeah.
Through Christ.
Yeah, because somehow that gets applied to like Tim Tebow.
I was going to use Tim Tebow
invading Iran. I don't know if Pete Hegseth's quoting of not actually canonized scripture, but from a Tarantino film counts, but that would be on the list. A previous episode we mentioned the line
Pulp
God
Fiction one.
Yeah, the God hates divorce line which is about Israel and God's relationship that's been used to like terrorize people on behalf of patriarchy.
Goodness.
Oh, we got Jeremiah 29:11 in the chat.
I don't know it. I don't know that one by address. What's that one?
I don't know. Get behind me, Jesus, which is Joey in the chat gave it.
Yeah.
But Ben is correct here as an aside while you think about this, about the Lakers. Magic, Kobe, and Kareem are locks. And then he says West and Shaq are fighting, but you also got to think about Wilt and Baylor. And I'll just say, is anyone surprised that Tripp's fourth on it is indeed Elgin Baylor? I'm just saying, not just because his name is Elgin and my firstborn is Elgin, but because he's 11-time All-Star, Hall of Famer, and all-time leading rebounder. Come on, just Elgin Baylor, classic. And if you've ever spent some time on YouTube watching highlights of Laker greats because you weren't really watching the NBA then, I'm just saying, Elgin Baylor's got some swag in the lane.
Hey, I have my last one for the.
All right. I know the plans I have for you is the Jeremiah one.
Okay, that's Jeremiah.
That is pretty bad.
I'm gonna save that as my backup. My fourth is gonna be 2 Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sins and heal their land. I think that one has to go up on the Rushmore because it's not specifically about how much God loves America and American exceptionalism or the founding fathers or being a Christian nation. And yet I always hear it in that context.
Yeah. Okay. See, that was fun.
That was fun.
You want to know what the suggestion of a Mount Rushmore for Tripp was?
Yeah.
Dead German philosophers.
Well, can I take a run at it?
Yeah.
So obviously Hegel is top of the list. Oh shoot. You know, now I'm second guessing myself. I was going to say Heidegger, but then I don't know if he's German. He could be like Swiss or something.
Dude, he's Nazi German. Come on.
Okay. Then I was thinking, but I know that Nietzsche isn't German. But I don't know what he is.
Well, it depends. Like he would be German now.
Okay.
You know? But and he wrote in German.
Right. And the Germans loved him.
Tell you the 8 that I came up with and you tell me which.
Let's go.
So there's Nietzsche, Marx, Heidegger, Hannah Arendt, Kant, Hegel, Meister Eckhart. If we get to count him, that is like a banger. Then you got to go with Feuerbach.
Oh, yeah.
And Schleiermacher. I'm saying it's hard to decide. And I mean, easily the most influential are Kant, Hegel, Nietzsche, Marx.
Right. But that's not what Rushmore necessarily is.
No. I think. And so then I decided to myself, what concept puts them on Mount Rushmore?
Okay.
You know, and
or can I just say if their first name is something just uniquely German, like Ludwig, that has to be a bonus point towards their Rushmore counter.
Yeah.
Right.
I think Hegel has to be on there because he's the most important German idealist, though Schelling's Tripp's favorite. I think Hannah Arendt has to be on there.
Yeah.
Because like she developed the whole concept of banality of evil, was like the philosopher who wrestled most intensely in kind of that post-Holocaust moment. So you want someone on Mount Rushmore to like demonstrate the future of German philosophy and stuff. It's really hard not to have Heidegger, but like maybe you started making Heidegger, then you started thinking about the fact that he was a Nazi, so you turn it into Hannah Arendt just to like troll him a little bit when you're making the statue. I think you have to have Schleiermacher, not just because like he translated Plato, which this is the translation you read of Plato. If you're reading Plato in German, he wrote philosophy. He pioneered how the German university system structured in the modern period. He pioneered hermeneutics. there's so many things within that he was like the first of, on top of liberal theology, and like the mixing of German romanticism, idealism, and the kind of 19th century religious ethos is like Schleiermacher, on top of just being like the father of liberal Christian theology. And when you have to pick one of the masters of suspicion, and
Marx.
But see, I would pick Nietzsche if you're going on it, because like Nietzsche, you get like, he writes wildly in all these different formats and stuff. Like Genealogy of Morals is a banger. And if no one's ever read it, you should all go read it. Get the Penguin's Classic translation. The introduction and commentary is great. And his critique of religion in that is just excellent. But then you also get stuff like the Thus Spoke Zarathustra, the God is Dead whole thing. Eternal recurrence, the 3 stages of a human and their growth, right? Camel, lion, child. Like there's just so, like, he has so many things. Like, but both Marx and Nietzsche are like the figures that became the masters of suspicion along with Feuerbach. But like if you're on the Rushmore, then you have to say the other bit. Friedrich Schleiermacher, clean face. Hannah Arendt, clean face. Hegel, clean face. You got to have a German with sweet facial hair, and Nietzsche's mustache is really going to make the Mount Rushmore pop.
There you go. I like that.
And his mustache is cooler than Mark's crazy hair. That's what I got.
I like it. See, this Rushmore game, this is actually a really fun game to play.
If people are like, Schleiermacher's too theological, then I would have to go with like Meister Eckhart.
Okay.
But yes, he's a monk and stuff, but think 3/4 of the philosophers that like him now aren't even religious. But Fichte, you're right. But also, like, most people would put Kant on there, but you know, I know you would. You and Gordon Kaufman putting Kant on there.
I am a big fan of Immanuel Kant.
Man, anyway. All right, but what was your next real topic?
Okay.
I want you to know we have passed the 45-minute mark. So if you had over before a Bonhoeffer or Tolkien aside, you won.
No, Trip. I already brought up Tolkien in the visitation UFO conversation. So it was under.
Oh, but I didn't do it. So
no,
okay. You failed, Bo.
I did. All right, Trip. True or false? American Christianity, both in its liberal identitarian mainline expression and in its conservative, more nationalistic, fundamentalist expression, even evangelical maybe, works best when you live in a state where you can influence political legislation. So, being a mainline liberal works best in blue states that have gender-neutral bathrooms. And conservative Christianity works best in red states where you can put the 10 Commandments up in a classroom. Okay, true or false?
False.
American.
I don't know what you mean by works best. I think each of them doing that triggers the other one to be the worst version of themselves.
Now that was a good response. I have noticed in my travels that Christians of both, I'm going to say both stripes at the ends of the spectrum, let's call it, to use rainbow language, are most comfortable and feel most empowered when the laws in any given state reinforce their both spiritual or theological convictions with political legislation. And when they are outside of that state or region, they grow increasingly uncomfortable and agitated. And so, yes.
No, I'm not derailing you yet.
Okay. All right.
I'm nice.
So, for instance, if you are a left coast liberal who wears an Alban stole and appreciates the liturgy and uses words like litany and sacristy and fun words like that, you talk about vestments and the vestry, things like that. The chancel. These are some of your words. That brand of Christianity is built and is more influential and more comfortable in states that have democratic legislatures and gender neutral bathrooms. Right? And vice versa.
Okay, but here's what I was thinking, Bo. If I was going to argue your premise that it's better to be in the tribe that has political sway,
there you go.
Then you would want, like, if you're like conservative evangelical in a red state, then it would be good to be there because maybe you could talk your tribe into caring about stuff Jesus cared about, right? You're like, yeah, I guess we need the 10 Commandments on the wall, but couldn't we also put the Sermon on the Mount on the wall since Jesus said it? and maybe we should, I don't know, care about the least of these. It's above my pay grade to tell Jesus that's not who he is. He said it was, right? Like, so then you have the people that are in charge, right? Like, that would be like, if you're in a red state, you would rather have a big church with Tony Campolo as the preacher rather than whoever Pete Hegseth's homeboy is, right? Like, now you're
Doug Wilson.
Yeah, that guy, right? Like, if you're in a red state, you would want like Brian Zahn, like, to have a big church. Who's just like, this. I'm so evangelical and stuff. Like, y'all really missed the point. Like, I'm OG Jesus people. Can y'all believe this junk? Which I just found this out, Bo. This is how many people now help organize Theology Beer Camp. Brian Zahn is coming to the Theology Beer Camp pregame.
Oh,
he's
my
like
goodness.
doing something with clergy at the pregame for Theology Beer Camp. And I was like, I saw
that's amazing.
I sent the graphic. I was like, well, because last year he was supposed to come.
Okay.
We had worked it out, except he had never told his assistant because it was just us texting.
Oh, no.
And now I'm like, I got to find out. I was like, is he going to stay? Because then he needs to come to the Tolkien session because, Brian Zahn and I both love Tolkien. And I'm like, now I could tag team my Tolkien sermon with Brian Zahn. Anyway, I was just saying, think of that. Or like Adam Hamilton
yes.
Now he's like running as a Democrat for senator, but he's like the archetype of middle of the road mainline Protestant, and evangelicals like him in the area, and mainliners like him because he's the only one that's probably not losing members. But he's just like, no, we're just got to be Christians. But see, and then in a progressive state, then you could be like, look, we welcome everyone, but take California. Why would progressives go, why do we suck at building affordable housing? We should actually care about this. Why did we give all this money to build speed rail that's going to help the environment, create new jobs in all these economically downturned spaces between, right, Southern California and in the Bay Area? Think of the economic boom when there's a speed rail going through. Do we end up building that? No, because it's one party state. We're just going to have some commissions and stuff, and then we're going to build a part in the middle of it that doesn't connect any big cities. Like, if you could be real effective if you were progressive Christians, and you're like, no, like, we actually have to do our values around with class analysis. Then maybe it would work better. But I feel like when you're with your own tribe, then you're all trying to escalate against your own tribe to be like the most pure version. And that most pure version has to cost your middle class and up people as little as possible. So, like, do you get high-speed rail for environmental and class reasons? No. No, we go NIMBY and everything, and we don't actually solve housing problems. And yeah.
So
and Don in the chat just brought up Nephilim. He's trying to get that over under 4.5 of conspiracy
and we
theory
just
nodes.
rounded the hour. We just rounded the hour, so that works. Hey, so Trip, if I hear you right, like you're saying maybe I'm hearing you say that being a Christian in an area that doesn't vote your values or reinforce your ethics is like it's tougher, right, to do that kind of stuff when the governmental structures and institutional frameworks don't lean the way you're hoping that it goes. And so you're essentially, you're fighting upstream. You're going against the current. And so it's just tougher because you don't get as many wins. You don't have as much influence. You often are representing a minority perspective. So in places like Idaho, where Billy lives, or in North Carolina, like you can't guarantee that your side's going to win. And so it just makes it tougher to actually live out your understanding of the gospel message. Interesting. Oh, you're muted.
In my head, I think like 3/4. Like if you just like if 3/4 of the things progressive Christians care about, and the Pope cares about, and like an evangelical that's read the red letters recently should care about. I just feel like there's a whole host of things that just are Christianity 101. Like before you get to culture war issues or any of that, like care for the poor and care for God's creation, care for the next generation, care for those in prison, hungry and in need, care for immigrants, all those kinds of things where you would have to get a prophet complaining about how bad Israel's doing at it or their neighbors are doing at it to like find a verse you could cut randomly to be like, see, like there's so many things that of questions we face politically that if you just even ask like the people in charge of ethics at almost any denomination, you would have a huge consensus. That's what I think the lack of and then we end up never working or cooperating together because we'll get hung up on something that, until everyone agrees on everything, which I'm not expecting to happen anytime soon, are going to remain contested. Why not demonstrate what's most compelling about your tradition by performing your unique things in the most beautiful and compelling ways, and then go, oh, like in our area in LA, yeah, but all the different Christians, Muslims, Jews, and even the Scientologists care about homeless veterans who are dealing with PTSD and major mental issues coming back from wars, starting with Vietnam on. Like, we all managed to do really cool stuff to care for unhoused people dealing with the moral trauma of war in the South Bay. Now, if we had asked about Xenu or whatever, or if the Mormons were like, we couldn't work with you because y'all don't even have the real version of the Bible, like, oh, you're just like that. Yeah, we're all going to disagree on that. And I just found it nuts in that situation, Bo. Who were the ones least likely to participate?
I'm going to go with conservative Christians.
Yeah. Yeah. You're just sitting there going, well, I don't get this. Like, they are all wanting to help all the mainline and moderate Christians no, wait. it's not just evangelicals, because if they're evangelical but an ethnic minority church, say like first generation Korean congregations that have like a rapture wall chart, they're there. It's the white ones. It's white evangelicals in Southern California. They're like, we can't mess with this. And I even had one tell me, one of the clergy, when I went to them, because he was a youth minister, and they had done stuff with our youth group. Because most churches don't have a full-time youth minister and assistants. So I organized lots of stuff. So they would even had come on some service things, right?
Okay.
Well, this is a long-term commitment to a project with unsaved people. And I was like, yeah. And I bet they're going to end up finding your version of the gospel compelling when, because you say they're going to hell, you can't take care of white evangelical veterans with PTSD. That's going to win them over. They're going to pay money and time to take care of veterans that, and let's be honest, half the people that I knew of the homeless. And I was like, I cooked breakfast for them twice a week for 3 years and stuff. So like, I knew a lot of them in Redondo. The majority of them are from red states elsewhere, and they come there. Like, it's not it. Like, there were more homeless in Redondo from Texas than California. And so like, always, it drives me up a wall when red states are like, oh, they got all the homeless. I'm like, yeah, because y'all treat them like crap. Like, you got great weather and more support. Where do you think you're going to stay?
Yeah.
You didn't go to Dallas
or someplace with cold winters.
Yeah. Anyway.
Hey,
sorry. That was
no.
It got me so irritated. Like,
yeah.
I'm just sitting there going like, what is the logic structure of going, never mind, on like homeless veterans? Like, don't you think, like, if you're a conservative Christian who probably loved the wars, you didn't protest against it and write your congressman?
You're pro, yeah.
I did. Why am I helping them? And you're like, no, well, the Scientologist group is giving money. I'm like, yeah, at least they're giving money to that. It's better than, I don't even know, whatever the other weird stuff they give.
That's interesting. Hey, so like, I'm being semi-facetious because I'm pretty put off by some of the things I've seen in my travels. So I'm being a little snarky in my representation of this, but you're helping me think it through why it rubbed me the wrong way so much. Let me give you an example and then a story. So the example would be, if you lived in a red state, let's say like Texas, but you lived in a blue bubble like Austin, and you were trying to do something good, but the majority of the people who supported whatever your proposal was were doing it for secular reasons or humanistic reasons, and weren't doing it out of the same gospel conviction, theological impulse, motivation that you have. Like, that would be a challenging situation, because if somebody said, like, this thing that you are working for and, putting so much energy into, but look at who you're partnering with, it's almost like a version of guilty by association, like the suspicion that comes because of who the coalition is made up of. It's just an interesting sort of challenge. And until I was on the road and I was staying in different locations with people from different states and hearing their concerns and their feedback, I hadn't really thought about, because I'm in a place where, it's not a variable here. The political climate is a given, like who's going to win and what their priorities will be. And so the churches, my churches, influence is countercultural. Like, it's like you're saying, it's a Minority Report trying to remind them of, like, yeah, well, because we follow Jesus, we value these things and we behave in these ways and we put our energy into these causes. But being around people who are used to being in charge or getting their way or winning, it was just sort of an eye-opening thing. So I'm reflecting, I'm thinking out loud, and I appreciate you entertaining that.
Well, you know what I want you to entertain?
Yeah.
Another game.
Let's do it.
This game is called Name That Name, and all ye people in the chat.
Name that name?
Yeah. So I have 10 clues. I'm going to do one at a time.
All right.
And we're going to see if Bo or anyone in the chat names that name first.
This is so inside baseball. To continue our sports talk theme.
Yes. All right. Clue number 1 of Name That Name, Bo. He didn't train in theology or philosophy. He came up as a medievalist studying paleography, archival science in Paris before crossing the Atlantic.
Paris before crossing the Atlantic.
Yeah. I'm just saying. That is clue number 1.
Hold on. Let me think. So, all right, somebody who's in, I'm thinking out loud here. Does that mean they're into Aquinas, who is into Aristotle? Okay. I'm going to guess this person is.
Oh, you can't. If you guess, you don't get another guess. Right.
Okay.
All right. Name that name. Clue number 2. He made his name first as a literary critic.
Yeah.
Reading Cervantes, Stendhal, Flaubert, Proust, and Dostoevsky in search of one hidden structure they all share. Ooh. Yeah.
Okay, hold on. So I think the key word there is structure. So we're looking for a structuralist. So, but I have to think, was he a medievalist? Okay. I want one more clue.
All right. Clue number 3, name that name. In 1966, he co-organized a now legendary conference at Johns Hopkins that accidentally introduced French theory, a young Jacques Derrida, to America.
He accidentally?
Oh yeah.
No, so this isn't who I thought it was. Now I'm more lost than I thought I was.
All right, clue number 4. He worked out his theory with books like. Oh wait, no, that'd give it away.
Yeah. If you give me titles of books, I'll get it.
Okay. All right. Well, all right. I think you'll get it with this. Okay. His central claim: we don't desire objects of our own. We borrow our desires from models, a triangular structure, which he gave a particular name to.
Okay. Is this Jacques Lacan?
No. See, if I gave the concept name, you'd know who it was. This is.
Oh, my gosh. All right. Well, I shot my shot. So.
All right. Clue number 5. When two people catch the same desire, they become rivals. And he argued that escalating rivalry is the hidden engine of human conflict.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. You know now, don't you?
Yeah.
No one in the chat's got it yet either. So, all right. Number 6. Communities resolve that crisis by unconsciously uniting against a single victim. He called it the scapegoat mechanism and claimed it founds culture and archaic religion.
Yeah. Rene Girard.
He worked this out across books like Violence and the Sacred and Things Hidden Since the Foundation of the World.
Oh, I would have gotten that.
8. Unusually for a theorist of his generation, he argued the Gospels Peter is the first to get it in the chat, and he's not even on YouTube. He's on Facebook. Congratulations, Peter.
Can anything good come out of Facebook?
Yeah, Peter's answer, the correct answer, unlike your answer. He argued the Gospels do what no myth does. They take the side of the innocent victim and expose the whole machine. 9. One of his late books takes the title from Luke 10:18. I saw Satan falling like lightning. And 10, this French Catholic thinker elected one of the 40 immortals of the Académie Française, gave the world mimetic desire and scapegoat theory. His last name's Girard. See if you don't get it at that point.
That was really tough. You threw that first clue threw me off big time with the medievalist. It got me going down the wrong path.
First few clues were things I didn't know about, Gerard.
No,
which I think is why it's fun.
It was a head fake. Then I bought it.
Yeah, great format, great game. Totally empowering everyone else to send me 10 clues to play it later. Or if you want me to guess, you can send them to Bo.
That would be fun. Yes, please do. Hey, speaking of mimetic violence and the scapegoat theory, I have something else I have been waiting to run by you. Trip, I think you have seen that people on both sides, quote unquote, of the political aisle have been calling for a reduction in violent rhetoric.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen this?
Yeah. You know, did I tell you that this was the clip the person sent for us to watch is related to this?
I did watch that clip.
Okay.
So it's a Fox News clip where...
You want me to play it?
If we can without getting in trouble.
I think so.
Okay.
We'll find out. No thing.
It's thinking. I like that it's not dead air because we can hear the birds chirping in your background. So nothing's happening on my screen. I don't know.
Oh, you're not hearing it?
No. I'm not hearing it. Oh, it didn't work. All right. So.
Oh, jeez. I can hear it. It's blaring in my head.
Oh, okay. So if people can hear it, I have a theory I want to run by you, but it starts in a different place, okay? So you know how in English we can have silent letters? Like in knife, the K is silent?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. People aren't hearing it either. Okay. So we can have silent letters, but I want to run a theory past you that we also have silent words. So they're words that are in a phrase, we just don't say them, right? And that part of being attuned to, and I would argue attending to, accounting for these silent words is to have a genealogy of how we came to call certain things by what we call them now, right? So you see it show up in things like, for instance, when we say September 11th or 9/11, we often, almost exclusively now, mean the attacks of September 11th, 2001. But it becomes shortened to 9/11. In the same way that we call them the Twin Towers, right? Or Ground Zero. One of the things that those of us who track such evolutions and changes and modifications is that almost immediately people stopped calling them the World Trade Center towers. And part of the theory is that it was to get rid of the phrase world trade as part of the understanding of what happened that day and the buildup and the motivation of the 9/11 attackers. So by taking world trade out of that, we just call them the Twin Towers or Ground Zero. We call it 9/11. By shortening everything down, we obfuscate or try to minimize the role that world trade played in those horrible events. Okay. We do it all the time. We do it with so many things. And so I like to keep track of this stuff. And I think we're experiencing one of those now. The phrase, this is my theory I want to run past you. The phrase political violence is missing a word. It's like a silent letter, the K in knife. And the word that is missing is guns. So when we talk about political violence, we are obfuscating the word gun violence, the phrase. And by not saying gun violence, we are trying to make it about something else like rhetoric or ideology. And it's functioning in a way like, Elizabeth Johnson, when she talks about theology, would say our language functions, right? Like our language about the Trinity, it gets something done. And so thinkers like her and Caputo, they help us to see that when Caputo talks about the name of God as an event, like this is helpful paradigms and frameworks to understand. So I want to run you through. I just made a short list this morning of ways that gun violence is tucked into our everyday language. When we're talking about a subject, we'll say that we take dead aim. We talk about shooting from the hip, biting the bullet, that somebody's loaded for bear. Even when we make a list, we talk about bullet points. We talk about give it your best shot, that somebody is under the gun, that they came in guns a-blazing. We're talking about the whole kit and caboodle. We say lock, stock, and barrel. And this violence just permeates not only our language, but just our imagination, to the point that we don't see the gun when we say political violence, the gun becomes invisible. And it's actually striking to me when I watch these clips, both on the left and the right, how like a silent letter in a word, it's a silent word in a phrase. And we don't talk about gun violence. We talk about political violence. And by doing this, we make the gun invisible and obfuscate the role that it plays in the situation. And one of the reasons we can't solve it is because we would rather talk about rhetoric or ideology or the media or video games or trans shooters or anything else. So that's my
yeah.
No,
that makes sense, Bob. That's and what's fascinating is none of that language would have existed prior to the gun. Right?
Keep your powder dry.
And after you get it, then it comes to frame it gets used linguistically to describe all sorts of interactions.
Like a smoking gun.
Yeah. Wait till you see the whites of their eyes. Oh, geez. Okay. Yeah. And, I do think like there's a kind of, Whitehead would call it like a misplaced concreteness, right? Like on rhetoric, where you're avoiding that the entire conditions that make certain kinds of political violence possible, like those conditions are what? Like it's not the rhetoric. The rhetoric comes out of the conditions. The violence, that's something humans have been dealing with forever. But violence that can generate that much death escalates with what is or isn't available, right? Whether it's the violence of war and economic exploitation and cultural kind of imperialism on the rest of the world. And so what you go for the World Trade Center, not with traditional warfare, but with terrorism, or right in America, unlike other parts of the West, dealing with the same kind of class and culture conflicts. Our violence is different because, well, we're awash with guns, right? But if we want to make it the rhetoric issue, then yeah. I don't know why y'all couldn't hear that clip. It's really irritating me now because Homeboy was just like he does a number of things that is just like really funny, where it started with, there was a domestic terror threat against the wrestling thing that Trump did on the White House lawn, and then this Texas representative is like, yeah, political rhetoric's really going downhill, and it's obviously worse on the left. Anyway, and if we just keep talking like this, the left is going to think they need a new Bonhoeffer. And I was just like, the asymmetry in both the current referent and the Bonhoeffer referent is revealing, right? Like you're like, okay, no, just, and he's like, well, when you start to say things like Gestapo, and I was like, I don't know, like when you start to say domestic terrorists after an employee of the state shoots somebody for protesting with their protective rights, like but the rhetoric, Bo, not the ICE officer shooting someone in the face. It was the rhetoric that did it. Oh yeah. Anyway, but and then like the idea that, okay, if we had an American Bonhoeffer, and the poor historical understanding of Bonhoeffer joining the conspiracy implied throughout that conversation was true,
okay,
that would mean the analogy would be Donald Trump is Hitler. I just like, if Donald Trump equals Hitler, which is assumed in the analogy, then like, don't you think the application of phrases like fascist and totalitarian and things to Hitler and your analogy, Republican rep, to the current administration, like that's the weird thing, right? It's not like he said, it is naive to assume something. It was like, no, we're going to have an American Bonhoeffer. I was like, this is so stupid.
So when we started the show and you had an under-over that included Bonhoeffer, I knew that clip was coming. And so I was wondering where it would come up in the show. But whoever voted over.
Yeah, it was probably a dangerous vote right there. We demonstrated, like patience. We demonstrated patience. Also, I'll just say, as someone who's been working on Bonhoeffer a lot recently, Bonhoeffer was like, he didn't join the conspiracy till he thought the state had failed and the church had failed.
Right.
And the conspiracy fails. And him joining the conspiracy came not when he was like a German nationalist early in his life. It came after the encounter with a whole series of others. The Black Church in Harlem, Catholics in Rome, working class Nazi friendly youth minister work. Like, he goes through all of these encounters with the other. John Lassalle, French guy, should be your enemy, right? Both of you lost family members in World War I. It's not till he got to this point where he realized, like, the state had failed its responsibility to care for all of its citizens. The church is forsaken the gospel. And what do you do in a complete crisis where you had to learn to pray for the defeat of your country? And you can't imagine a future where the people in the land and the church have integrity again. And so he takes on the guilt of his people. That's like what Bonhoeffer's talking about. None of it is Bonhoeffer heard some people doing some crazy rhetoric and was just like, you know what? I think we got to blow some people up. We got to take down the Nazis. Like, that's just like, I wasn't going to do this, but that rhetoric got so heated when I was hanging out with my brother-in-law that I think we should kill somebody. Like, no, it is just stupid. And like, what are you gaining, right? Like, all that demonstrates when he says shit like that is that he has just no clue what he's talking about. He doesn't understand the current situation in rhetoric. He doesn't understand the structure of state violence and the permission structure that's being given to harm citizens. He doesn't understand the Christian commitment to the face of the other. He doesn't understand the gospel. He definitely doesn't understand Bonhoeffer. His version of Bonhoeffer is even worse than Eric Metaxas. And that's saying something, because he made shit up. So anyway, Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I was trying to stop before 3 minutes.
Please clap.
Please clap.
I am fascinated not just with what we say, but the things that go unsaid. It is amazing to me when we camouflage our language, what it allows to live and to grow and to prosper when we make things invisible or hide them behind the curtain. It's telling to me that the unsaid sometimes is as powerful as what is said, and it's reading between the lines where you really find like the truth isn't in what's visible, it's in what's hidden between those letters. That's really what's being communicated. So language functions in an interesting way. And I find that in our 24-hour news media cycle that there's a powerful I don't want to call it a strategy, but it probably is very intentional about what things are reported on and those things that are noticeably left unreported.
Yeah. Dude. So okay, Don in the chat just said sowing weed seeds must be the work of the enemy, and I totally dyslexified that and saw smoking weed must be the work of the enemy.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, that's not even a topic. It was just I saw that and thought Don's talking about smoking weed.
That is hilarious. Oh, side note, one of the things that I find interesting about living in a non-marijuana state, so Idaho, no pot.
People will still go drinking with you.
I mean, not me in particular, because I'm a liberal minister, but yeah, people do. I think per capita, we do have a high percentage of bars. But when we try to help families out, so this week we were trying to help a family out who moved cross state lines from a state that has legal marijuana, and we're trying to get them into a family shelter, but one of them has to wait a couple days to let everything out of their system before they can pass the screening test. And so we were able to get 2 of the 3 into a shelter so they had a bed, but this other person literally has to sleep in their car until they can pass that test. It's one of those things that you don't think about until you're in the middle of a situation, which is like, oh yeah, crossing state lines is tricky because depending on what's waiting for you in this new state that you've arrived in, it can be really difficult to overcome some of the more minute or nuanced laws. Anyway, I'm just learning a lot about the system by trying to be involved in my community.
Dude, I've always found that kind of stuff really ridiculous, right? Like, anyway, I will say that I think we need to introduce more friction in general to stuff. Like everything's way too. Friction gives the context for you to become more mature and human. It also forces you to be more intentional in making dumb decisions. Like online gambling is got to be one of the worst things that's ever happened. I'm not saying we shouldn't have the opportunity for people to get, well, okay, personally, Trip doesn't, but like it worked better when you had to put effort into it. And now you have all these people, like largely young men, addicted to gambling on their phones.
Yes.
It is causing I know multiple families where the 20-something-year-old is in debt, addicted to gambling, destroying their life. And the apps are like doing all they can, right, to get them on it. The entire sports radio and TV industry is packed full of ads on sports gambling, which and I got into this. I wrote a Substack thing for this, but I haven't published it because I sound like a crotchety old man in it. But the more you look at it, so like, here's the funny thing. If you actually bet well, they turn you off or limit how much you can gamble. But if you suck, they let you gamble more. They give you ways of like taking out loans to gamble. They call you and give you perks to keep gambling. So it's not even doing the what do you call it? It's not even like it's not like if you went into a casino, right? And you gambled on a game. Now they're just sitting there doing all these micro bets running through a game on stupid stuff. And then you get all these athletes, like even like college athletes getting harassed on the internet and stuff because they didn't get enough rebounds or whatever. Like do we really want to create a world where people's phones make them preoccupied with things unrelated to the competitive nature of the sport, but just like stupid lines you're doing gambling things over? That's why, right? Even the over under bit, we all know what it is because gambling occupied sports radio so much that every show has some gambling related betting things.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, could you imagine if someone really put money on how long before you and I, one of us brings up Tolkien or Bonhoeffer? Like, that would be the dumbest thing, because we could literally text Joel or Lori or Billy and be like, hey, Bo's going to ask me a question at 28-minute mark.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to let it loose. And then they're all rich. Because I just told them, and it's unrelated to whether the podcast is good or whether it fit in there. It's like getting right to the time. We're doing it on when you bomb stuff now, or how long a presser goes in the White House. Like, and no one's asked whether this is a good. And the companies doing it that are getting all these legal workarounds surprisingly have family members of the president on the board getting paid way more than Hunter Biden got paid to be in Burisma in Ukraine board. Like, this is nuts. Like, I just like, and no one cares about that. That's not like something we're having legislation around, because they're all getting money from it. It's like the AI companies, gambling, and weed, all of them have like these weird ways they're influencing current politics that make them not actually issues we can address. Everyone wants the money from the whole thing. Like, maybe I have a bad experience, but I've never thought at any point in my life my friends that were potheads had trouble getting weed. This has not been an experience in my life. Did the world get better off when you can get it on an app delivered at your house in 10 minutes? Oh,
yep. Okay.
See, this is old man Trip. I don't know what happened, Bo. I was sitting there, and the question of friction is really important to me. I have not the next like book that's more or less done, but the one after that, there's a whole section on this, and I got into the psychological science of it and things, and it's horrible. I don't understand. Okay. Also, like, we know, like, you should not be a pothead till your frontal cortex is finished. So now you got a bunch of like 20-somethings dudes that have the worst problems come out of them when their frontal cortex gets buffed up, with no real job prospects because our economy sucks, doing gig work, smoking weed, playing video games, sitting on social media. And like, I just watch. I mean, I know individuals who come from wonderful families with all the resources that don't know what to make of their 20-something-year-old who's just like addicted. And I'm like, yeah, like, when you're older, after your brain cortex is formed, at least the way I understood the science. I asked people that study it, not like Tripp read something on the internet. I had a long conversation with a cognitive psychologist, and she was like, yeah, after your frontal cortex is formed, like drinking and smoking weed basically similar in like health outcomes or whatever. Prior to that, she's like, I'd much rather have my kid drink. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah, think of like how 2 beers makes you able to approach a girl and like talk to them. And now they all sit on apps treating people off their pictures and self-descriptions as like a meat market rather than like the actual friction of talking to people or getting our friends suggesting you meet someone else or all this kind of thing. No, now friends sit there and look at pictures and bios, swiping back and forth. Yeah, this is true. I'm feeling old man energy right now. I've never felt so old when I had all these things. And maybe it's because my son's going to college now. The Tripp's like turned into an old man. But this is why we got to bring back friction. And you know, other friction we got to bring back? Having to read books when you're in school. Like you have to actually read a book and write something. Like, see, AI gets rid of the friction and you don't even know how to think anymore. Like human beings think by reading and writing. And then you work it out in conversation and stuff. Anyway.
So here's the thing.
What is my age after the last 5 minutes?
What is my age again? What is my age again?
55.
So listen
now
to this.
Turned into a crotchety-Gen-X-dad with an empty home already. And I
have a Mount Rushmore of French theorists that I quote. You ready? Here's my Mount Rushmore. Jean Baudrillard, Guy Debord, René Girard, and Paul Ricoeur. That's my Rushmore of French authors that I quote. And the reason I bring that up is because Jean Baudrillard has this thing called hyperreality. And what you were talking about, both with dating and with gambling on the phone, it is this example of something that's hyperreality. It's not the thing itself. It is not even related to the thing. It's actually several degrees removed, right? So if you're betting on wars or the length of pressers at the White House or the number of left-handed free throws in a game, you're not participating in the competitive structure of the game. At that point, you're just doing trivia. And it's so off track that it's no longer, you're not engaging in the real, but it's hyper real, right? And this is when you have a Xerox of a Xerox of a Xerox, he starts to call it simulacra. It is the simulation and the stimulation without the actual engagement. So that's one of the reasons I love Jean Baudrillard.
Yes. I told dad at church the other day, there was dads at a social gathering, all complaining about their high school and college sons, like not actually talking to people they were interested in and approaching them to like either get rejected or get a date. I was like, what if we all just gave our kid $50 if they get turned down? Once they get turned down 3 times, like you should learn how to do this because it's in that context. You learn how not to be a creep. Like it's not like testosterone in a teenager, early 20-year-old brain, like leads to like smooth relationships with people you're attracted to. Yep. You actually have to like learn with your theory of mind, like not like what am I thinking about this person? And not like what I want them to think about me. You have to learn like, no, what are they really thinking about me? And how do I learn to read social cues? And then you like self-domesticate yourself. This is a giant feature of our species. We're the species where females learned how to domesticate the males so that we could have greater social flourishing and cooperation, which was required when we started having children earlier and we needed a community and such. Like there's a long evolutionary story around this, but I'm like, yeah, but you know where we learned that you should probably like not smell, stare at women in the wrong way, like compliment them, get to know their friends, like be not just like peacock in all conversations and make it about you. All the things, those things, you learn them in the friction of relationships. And then you realize like, oh, the world's actually better off if I consider in interactions, not just what I want from the other person or what I think they should think about me, but I should think about, I don't know, their perspective on the world, what they're looking for. And there should be incentive structures for learning how to have, I don't know, equitable, synergistic relationships. And you know how you don't learn that? You don't learn it if the context of doing it that humans have had forever, I don't know, the friction of relationship with other people that are not you gets eliminated. So I'm just, I was like, what if we have a bet with our kids? Like if you can get turned down in person 3 times this summer, $50.
That's pretty funny. You know, Trip, once in a while in my travels, I get to catch up with old friends, and from time to time, I get to hang out with somebody who is recently single, whether it's from divorce or being widowed. And I just ask them, how is it out there? And the stories that I hear are so wild. So what you're talking about is for young people who are being formed, right? Or not being formed in the context of this app-based algorithmic world, right, of distraction and simulacra, hyperreal. But if you are old school, analog, tactile person, and then you are thrust back out into the single world, you are not practiced or well equipped or in this new world of dating apps, hookups, single life. I mean, honestly, and I do not know if males have it worse or females. Both of the stories are horrifying.
Yeah, because they had an experience that was like very much the human one until relatively recently. And then and then you have like people like inventing ways of modifying digital connection to reinsert algorithmically what our social groups used to do, right? Like, oh, this person I'm interested in, we have mutual friends. We have, you go through this thing and you're like, well, if this person's friends with these other people and I'm friends with them, so we have enough in common. And, the other ones can't be like super creepy or horrible, or the social consequences would be alienating from a friend group. Or you met because you are in school together or at work together or at church together or whatever it is. You're like, oh, we already know we share these things in common and stuff. And anyway, I mean, I understand why you have to put all that in. I'm just like, we need to have more experiences where you have to you have to like build your relationship muscles to figure out how to relate. I mean, I've had similar ones recently, obviously not dating ones, but like for the first time, not having a job that involved a whole bunch of colleagues at a school or a church and all the community of students and parishioners and things, and trying to make adult friends when you aren't working in a context where there's large amounts of shared values. Not easy. I mean, you've talked about having that experience, after you move, and you even have relationships that come with a congregation. So like, I think that feature of like it's that we are getting increasingly allergic to the friction of the other so much that now we're just like allergic to it, as opposed to it's the very context where friendships or relationships happen, where you grow in your ability to care and think on the other one's behalf, where you cultivate like the ability to have cognitive empathy. And then we're surprised at the macro level that nation states run around with zero cognitive empathy. And you're like, no wonder we're removing the space to do it. Like all the way down to, I was talking with a friend that's on our school board, and I'm like, y'all need to get rid of all these like Chromebooks and crap. And like part of what school is social training to be citizens and neighbors together. Like, and if everyone's doing individualized, efficient, tailored learning, and a teacher's not even a real teacher anymore, they're running around helping an algorithm mess with you, then you aren't even learning like these social, like you're supposed to learn how to work with people, because one person in the group is going to take charge and do more, and there's going to be the lazy person, and then you have to figure out how to do it. Like, yeah, that's annoying if you're the super nerd like myself, but also you learn how to pick up on who is going to be responsible and accountable in a thing, and that would be who you put in certain positions and stuff. If you don't learn that, well, you could end up, hypothetically speaking, putting someone in charge of the world's largest country, military, and economy who actually does not know how to have social relationships, because you don't select for leadership or anything like that. You are selecting for, I don't know, the most base performance of your resentment and judgment to the other, not the person who gets the most done cooperating with the other, which seems to be like a basic precondition for democracy and avoiding tribal wars. Anyway.
Hey, Trip, I have a quote that could be about friction that I think you'll really like. Okay. It's by C.S. Lewis, an author we know well. And here's the quote. We ought to give thanks for all fortune, if it is good, because it is good, if bad, because it works in us patience, humility, and the hope of our eternal country. There's something about that reminded me of like friction. Like, it's actually good for you to have to overcome, right? And it bears fruit in you and develops these things that benefit you in the long run. So don't shy away from difficulty and from difficult situations, from resistance and from friction. They'll actually develop in you things you will need once you overcome the friction. It's actually birthed in the overcoming.
Yeah. Okay. There are two lines, one from my grandpa and one from Alicia, that resonate with this.
Okay.
My grandpa, like after something happened, maybe a giant success or epic fail.
Okay.
And you know, oh, what's going on, Ball? You give him the update, and he said, well, you got to remember, the next step is how you decide if it matters, right? So after a success, like, what do you do? Do you lord it over people? Do you antagonize people? Do you like make yourself grandiose? The next step's you decide what it's where you decide what you're going to do with it. Or if you failed, the next step, are you going to try again? Are you going to pivot? Are you going to learn from it? And I'm like, that is one of those little buckets of wisdom. And then he would give examples, because he was he was Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force and got moved around with different units that were not very effective. And he said so much of it is getting in the mindset, like, yep, failures happen and success happens, and neither one of them are the end of the story. You want to be the unit that decides, like, whatever's just happened, how does this shape our next step? That's what wisdom is. It's a decision to take what just happened, make the next step. You know, later I'm just like, yeah, process example, great process philosophy moment. Alicia, and this happened yesterday, because if I beat myself up on a failure, I just like dwell in it in the worst way possible and give myself the hardest time. And she was like, you don't need to turn a single fail into a failure. And she's like, don't put the on it. Like, where I failed, or I failed. Now, no, that's fine. But are you a failure? Like, you'd make whatever this one instance, like, now the sole thing you're dwelling on to define who you are. But if it's just a fail, and then you fail again, and then you fail again, at some point it becomes a very context or crucible where you grow beyond it, right? But she said, Trip, you put the on it too much. And she was referring to Trip's like inability to identify the kid's emotion, but just start to solve the problem immediately or suggest to them what they should do, and then they resist because they didn't feel heard. And I was like, gosh, fail. And she's like, don't, you're going to put the on it. And I'm like, you've said you failed before. She's like, yeah, like you fail, and then you learn from it. You turn all of them into failures, dwell on it for 30 minutes, get hung up on it, and then maybe you knock yourself out of it. You got to get over it. You're a human being. This is going to be a predicament you run into all the time. And I was like, I should get that tattooed. Don't put the on it. And I was like, wisdom of the day, which I will say slightly triggering when your partner is more aware of your habits of dwelling on a single fail, turning it into a failure. And you're just like, what are you doing?
Hey, Trip, I have 2 Bible verses for you to pick your favorite as it relates to resistance and friction. You ready? The first is James 1:2-4. That says, consider it pure joy, my sisters and brothers, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work so that you may be mature and complete, lacking in nothing.
Jesus, brother.
Or
got some wisdom up in that piece.
Or would you rather go with Romans 5, verses 3-5, that says, not only that, but we rejoice in our friction, knowing that friction produces endurance, and endurance produces character, and character produces hope, and hope does not put us to shame because God's love has been poured into our hearts through the Holy Spirit who has been given to us.
Oh, why? I want them both and this, Bo.
Both and? Nice.
Yeah.
All right. You're going canon, not purgatory or heresy.
Definitely not heresy. Can't heresy. And you don't want to put that in the Apocrypha. Yeah, I know Luther might have wanted to put James in the Apocrypha, but not for that part of James. James, great advice on friction. Also, great definition of true religion. And yeah. But all right, Bo.
Yep.
So here is the last one of our games.
All right, the last one.
Yeah.
All right. Buzzer beater.
What is the Mount Rushmore of theology sci-fi crossovers? So what are the 4 theology sci-fi crossovers? And our sports talk radio under the terms of theology research assistant gave a list of suggestions. Just so you get them in your mind.
Good.
The first one also noted that there is no way Trip's not picking this, so which is accurate. Battlestar Galactica, epic. Project Hail Mary, Arrival, Dune, 2001: Space Odyssey, The Matrix, Annihilation, Children of Men, Star Trek: Deep Space Nine, Babylon 5, Contact, Solaris, The Leftovers, Silent Running, Interstellar, X-Files, Disclosure Day, E.T.
Well, I have a confession to make. I've only seen 4 of those that you just listed.
Oh, geez.
So I don't watch as much stuff as you do.
I hadn't seen all of them, but
okay,
that would not.
So,
but okay, of the ones you've watched,
The Matrix is top. E.T., Interstellar.
That's a good one too.
It was a good one. I'll let you pick the 4th. Those are the 3 that I know I would go with.
Battlestar Galactica is my favorite.
Okay, interesting.
But X-Files.
Well, that was a good one. You know what? Here's what would go on mine. Mad Max Fury Road. Yeah, that would go on my Rushmore.
Okay,
I love that movie.
It is
so
a really
much.
good movie. And one of the options in the 4 groups for Theology Beer Camp this year you know how we sorted people last year. This year you're
in
getting
houses.
sorted, but it's like into the style of post-apocalyptic genre you are.
Yeah, that's pretty fun.
But
that is pretty fun.
Like
Evan Garcia really appreciates The Leftovers word.
Yeah, it is a good one. I mean, Battlestar and X-Files I love, but see, it's hard when you've actually watched a whole series to really like it can touch on so many things in a whole series of season after season. It's like a single movie has a hard time doing, but The Matrix, like I feel like we're just generationally required to pick The Matrix, and Contact is a great film.
Yeah, is that the Jodie Foster? Yeah, it's a good one. I just want to say, I know this probably gets annoying. I just have to give another shout out to Baudrillard in The Matrix when Neo,
I know,
here's the knock on his apartment door. It's what he's reading.
Yeah, and when
Chip says, "I know."
I knew it was coming. You know, some of us have like the philosopher commentary track with Ken Wilber and Cornel West giving commentary through the film, and it's quite the experience. But when Keanu Reeves took the part, there were like 3 books that they were like, you need to read. One of them, Baudrillard. One of the others with Robert Wright's The Moral Animal. I can't remember the third, but it's one of those that's like very obvious. Like when you name them, you're like, oh, okay, I get why this is going on. Yeah. All right, Bo, I'm going to find the 4 factions for camp. Why you? What do you think about all these different games? That's what I really want to know.
Yeah, no, it added a real cool spice. Like it was punctuated between the stuff we normally talk about, and it gave us some segments that we don't normally have. And I think that was a really fun sort of a supplemental element today.
Yeah. And so if anyone else wants to do versions of these games or suggest others, feel free to email them to us. So I'll tell the 4 orientations of like for we're calling them factions this year for camp, and then you can do our benediction. All right, so 1 is the Sandwalkers. This is like Dune. They're the quiet, contemplative ones, reading the Desert Mothers and Fathers and Frank Herbert, and can't always tell the difference. They know that fear is the mind killer. The sleeper must awaken. Water is sacred. And that's probably why they'll drink 5 IPAs and then write a poem about thirst. That's my that was my description of the Sandwalkers. Then you got the fleet. This is like the Battlestar Galactica space, that one. And you know, where they say, so say we all the time. They've been on a road a long time after the apocalypse. They've left something behind, maybe certainty, a denomination, a whole tradition, and yet they're still moving. And it's like admirable Adama. And with the line in Battlestar, all this has happened before, you know? And so they're sitting there with a direction, but without a home. And they're still remaining pilgrims, even they don't have a place to land, right? And so they have this kind of like nevertheless resilience in the midst of collapsing world and change. Then 3rd is the remnant. Think like Stranger Things crew, Fallout, ones that endure and survive, where they have this deep grieving. They see what's been lost, and then find possibility in new friendships. They got like, maybe depending on the apocalyptic story, a garden, or maybe like the archive of wisdom, or they've managed to find a reading group where they connect, a porch where neighbors sit, and in the middle of all that stuff, they're figuring out what's worth preserving, and we want to be the people that preserve it. They're giving the gift of memory, of things to cherish from the past. And then the witnesses. This is your Mad Max Fury Road style. The ones that cannot be quiet. They watch a church go silent while empire does its work. They refuse to be one more pastor who kept their job by keeping their mouth shut. They get called divisive, uncivil, too online, too angry. Yeah, and they're right. They saw Fury Road in theaters and they got it. They know what Valhalla means. Not the heaven part, the costly part. And they'll die heroic on Fury Road before they'll be polite about injustice. They give the gift of courage, Bo. And yeah, you see I got the Valhalla bit in there for you?
I did. All right, I'm going to give us a benediction as
now,
we
which
close.
one do you think you're going to be, though?
I have to be
Man Walker's Fleet, Remnant Witness?
I would think the Remnant. That's sort of my vibe and mindset.
Good.
Yeah.
Even though you're tempted to go Mad Max.
I almost did. The way that you framed it, I was tempted.
I didn't know. I knew that personality-wise, you're not one, but then if I squeeze Valhalla in here.
You almost got me.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Speaking of Valhalla.
Here we go. You're going to like this one, Trip. There is no silver bullet, which is why we don't retreat. We reload. Scapegoat them before they scapegoat you. Keep your powder dry until you see the whites of their eyes, and then take dead aim. And I'll see you in Valhalla, brother.